if you find yourself with a high income and very little ownership, then you're in a very bad financial situation, because effectively what you're doing is you're in a situation where all you're doing is you are receiving money and you're consuming products with that money. You're getting it and you're spending it, getting it and spending it, almost like food or water just kind of running through your body, just so you got to keep eating just to stay alive. Well, if you don't own anything, that's going to be your life, and eventually you won't be able to work anymore, and you're going to eventually struggle financially because you have nothing to sustain yourself. Ownership not only has the ability to allow you to be in a situation where your money is working for you, which is very, very important. As you get older, you should have more things that are working for you, things that make money while you sleep, things that are sold and built from employees that you hire that are doing the work on your behalf with you paying their salary. The other thing about ownership is that ownership is just power. Ownership, and I'm not talking about power for the sake of exploiting people. I'm talking about power for the sake of protecting people. If you own a black restaurant, you can hire black people. If you own something that will allow you to pay your bills, even in the event that you get in trouble for being outspoken, you're still going to be okay. I can think about in my own life where ownership became critical. When I began my career as a public scholar, one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to be a lot like my heroes, the first black public scholars I ever saw. These are the people that planted the seeds in me: Michael Eric Dyson, Cornel West, and Julianne Malveaux. I will always love those three people. So if you ever see me disagree with them, it's only because I'm disagreeing with family, and I'll fight with anybody. But when it comes to those three people, I love that they are my Mount Rushmore in terms of scholars that inspired me to do what I do today. Most of the time, when African Americans on television or public figures on radio, whatever, whenever they get too outspoken and too independent or too radical, whatever that means, they end up having their platform taken away from them. That means that if you were getting book deals, then that white publisher who owns your book deal is not going to give you another book deal. If you had a television show, then that white-owned network that put you on TV is going to take that away from you. If you were giving speaking engagements, then that white-owned speakers bureau that was booking you for speeches may not book you anymore. Or those institutions that are paying you to give speeches may not pay you anymore. I knew from the beginning, I said, I don't think America is really ready for me, or ready for black men like me. Black men like me historically typically get knocked off pretty fast. Fortunately, I don't live in an era where you're likely to necessarily be killed, but I do live in an era where someone tries to kill you in other ways. They try to kill you politically, they try to kill you financially, they try to assassinate your character. So my goal was to kind of get hunkered down. Hunkered down meant owning a piece of everything I did. That means that if I publish a book, I want to own a piece of that publishing company. So we created a publishing company. If I give a speech, I want to either own a piece of that speakers bureau or make sure that speakers bureau is black owned, so I can support a black owned bureau. And I know a black owned bureau is less likely to abandon me if the heat gets too hot. If I do media, I turn more toward technology and social media and the internet more so than television, radio, and print, because those outlets were already owned by other people. And so my goal was really to be hunkered down. Now, here was the thing. It was a lot harder to do it that way. When you own your own stuff, there's pride in ownership, but there's also a little bit of, humiliation in that you don't have as much access to capital. There's nothing like working for a CNN and having them put millions of dollars out to help brand your show and build you up when you're scraping money out of your pocket to barely get by. And that's what I was doing. I was literally using money from my salary in order to pay for the things that I was trying to do. What I realized when I look back on it is that I may not have had as much money right away. It wasn't fast money. It was definitely slow money. It did eventually build up. But what I found was that protection, that security really came in handy when the heat got real hot. When I lost favor with the Obama administration and some of these big name black people because of some of the things I said during the presidency, I was okay. Nobody could really take anything away from me because I was paying my own bills. When I got into a big battle back in 2007, 2008 with Bill O'Reilly, he tried to get me fired from Syracuse, and he tried to attack me and go after me in every way he could. I knew what his strategy was. His strategy was, I want to find out who owns this black man, and I'm going to go get him. One thing about owning something is that, A, you can't pass it on to your children. You can't pass a job to your kids most of the time. You could try, but you probably can't, because jobs are pretty scarce. Jobs disappear overnight. It only gets worse every year. Corporate America is here to screw you, in case you're wondering. Corporate America doesn't care about you. Capitalism, in its very worst forms, is meant to exploit you. And if you're not aware of how the game works, then you will be at the bottom of the barrel, and you will be one of the people that ends up getting crushed by this.